What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA. All right, check this out. So it's that time of the year, you guys know, where we do some retrospectives. We start doing a look back on the year that was 2023. Everybody's going to have these coming out. Game Rant's talking about it already. We look at the good, the bad, and the ugly. What happened, what went right, what went wrong, you know, the success stories, the failures, you know, lots of failures in 2023. Whole lot of brand damage being done, all right, to a lot of these big name franchises. They got absolutely taken to the cleaners. A lot of bread was spent on movies this year. A whole lot of bread was spent on movies. Not a whole lot of bread was made. All right. You know, Disney, the main culprit of that. And it, you know, really centers around the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I mean, they spent a ton of money on content. An absolute ton of money on the content that they put out this year, and they didn't get anywhere near the return on their investment that they were expecting. But Game Rant's coming out there asking this question: how does the Marvels compare to other 2023 box office bombs? They saying, yeah, it wasn't the only box office failure, but how did it do comparatively? Now, look, in my opinion, you cannot compare a Marvel Cinematic Universe box office bomb to all the other bombs that's out there because it's not fair. All right. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is just a different beast. It's just a different beast. Let's just call a spade a spade. It's a complete different scenario. The Marvel Cinematic Universe had two films on back-to-back years, 2018, 2019, both cracked $2 billion worldwide in the box office. Never been done by any other franchise, ever, including Star Wars. It is the biggest money maker in Hollywood history. Across its entire, I mean, there's no comparison. You can't really fairly compare a Marvel Cinematic Universe bomb to all the other bombs that's out there. And look, you're looking right now on the screen at the three reasons why this was a bomb. You know, these three ladies right there, again, they might be fine, wonderful people, or maybe not Brie. But, you know, Iman Vellani seems cool, you know. And then you got Teyonah Parris. Teyonah Parris seems like a good actress. You know, you want to see a good movie with Teyonah Parris in it? Go watch They Clone Tyrone. All right, go watch that movie on Netflix. That movie is hilarious. It has a great cast. It has John Boyega's in it. Jamie Foxx is in it. Loved it. All right. Fantastic movie. Go watch that. Don't watch this trash. Go watch that if you want to see Teyonah Parris doing a great job in the acting role. And then, of course, we got Brie. But, yeah, these are the three reasons, because nobody cares about these characters. And, you know, again, you got a male-centric audience. You're giving us three really nothing burger characters that nobody has ever been interested in to watch their adventures. Nobody cares. The comic book going, you know, audience, the fans of comic book content, they don't care about these characters. Point blank, period, end of story. And you've done nothing to make us care. All right. So, yeah, that's the reason why this thing bombed. But let's go ahead and see what Game Rant has to say in regards to their reasons and how it did comparatively to the other bombs. So it says the Marvels broke the record for the worst opening weekend in MCU history, making it the lowest grossing film in the franchise, 1,000%. And then look at this. The Blue Beetle, a DC film, also struggled financially despite being highly anticipated and introducing a new character for the DCU slate. See, this is where it's like, come on, guys, come on. I can't even take you seriously saying some crap like this. I can't even take this man seriously anymore. You have completely destroyed any credibility to your argument with this paragraph right here. DC, there was no high anticipation for this film. Nobody knew who this character was. It's like you said, nobody knew. It wasn't highly anticipated. And matter of fact, everybody was just checked out of the DCEU by the time this thing came out. So nobody cared anymore. And then, yeah, it's a new character for the DCU slate. Nobody knows what this is yet. James Gunn, just all he said was, oh, yeah, the Blue Beetle is going to be in the DCU. But, you know, it's not going to be the same exact iteration that you saw in this film. He's just going to be introduced. Jaime Reyes, Zola Maradona will be playing him. But that's really all. Okay, so it's ridiculous to even, you know, use that. Again, no credibility based off of that alone. And then, of course, let's blame the strikes, all right? The SAG-AFTRA strikes significantly impacted the box office numbers for various films as actors were unable to participate in marketing and press tours. Yeah, if this is the Marvel Cinematic Universe and you have a film universe that practically just advertises itself because everybody knows it, everybody was just looking forward to the next Marvel movie. Who cares what the stars on the red carpet are even talking about? We're already excited. All the buzz and the energy in the fan community, that was all the marketing you needed. But now, oh, well, you know, because nobody was able to go out there and promote, that's one of the reasons. Yeah, get out of here, man. Nobody's buying it. Again, these 2 points right here, again, just completely, you know, wrecked this dude's credibility. The most talked about film of 2023 is easily Marvel's The Marvels due to its box office failure. I actually disagree with that. I think Barbenheimer or the Barbie situation, I think that's a bigger story. The Marvel Cinematic Universe overall collapsing, yeah, that's a big story right there. The Marvels is the follow-up to Brie Larson's successful Captain Marvel, which debuted in 2019. Unfortunately, the Marvels broke the Incredible Hulk record for experiencing the worst opening weekend in MCU history. There are numerous factors that contributed to the low numbers for the Marvels, which also affected numerous other films that were recently released in theaters. After the wild success of Barbie and Oppenheimer, yeah, there we go. Studios weren't expecting their autumn releases to see dismal returns. Yeah, why would you? If Barbie and Oppenheimer got it done, with their Barbenheimer little marketing campaign and everybody talking about it and buzzing about it, that was kind of a blueprint for you to say, hey, let's kind of do that same thing. Like they could have easily said, you know what, we're going to try to, do something with Hunger Games and the Marvels, girl power this, girl power that. They probably could have put something together. A smart marketing guy probably would have reached out and said, hey, Lionsgate, hey, Disney, Marvel, let's talk. Let's figure out if we can do some of that Barbenheimer magic, So because we really haven't been promoting, but it looks like things that go viral online and people are talking about it, that's the way to market a film these days. And maybe somebody should have got out there and thought about that idea instead of just saying, well, we're just going to cry and chalk it up to the strike, because, yeah, you didn't make any money with that. The biggest box office influence was the SAG-AFTRA strike, which lasted for 118 days and changed many aspects of the movie-making process. Many productions saw releases delayed into the following year, if not canceled. While audiences and studios expect big numbers from superhero flicks, especially MCU ones, other anticipated successes subverted expectations. Yeah, this is an important point too, all right? A lot of stuff got delayed into the following year, like Dune. Dune got completely out of the way, Dune Part 2. So that was a wide open door for the Marvels and, the Hunger Games to kind of just jump in and just grab up all of those screens and just take advantage of that. But what happened? Nobody cared. All right. So again, focus on like the real reasons as to why this thing failed. It didn't fail because of this crap he's talking about. The strikes and nobody could promote. It failed because nobody gave a damn about the movie. You weren't going to make people care more about the movie just by having Brie Larson on the red carpet, probably insulting people as she was going along with this thing. There's no chance of that. Then we go to this. The Marvels wasn't the only financial failure. All right, so let's go ahead and check out this chart and let's see what we got. So here's what the Marvels did. $220 million against 270. It's really 270 plus. We still haven't figured out like all the money they spent on this thing, but 270 is like the last number. 274 is like the last official number for it. Only 202 million in the box office. All right. Then you got Wish. Boy, that's an absolute disaster, ain't it? It's like one of the biggest, right? $200 million budget, $106 million in the box office. Killers of the Flower Moon also, all right, also had a big box office disaster, only 155 million. This one, I think you could chalk this one up to, this thing is like 3.5 hours long. Who wants to go and watch a 3.5 hour movie? Martin Scorsese, yeah, you got some people that went out there and checked it out. But most people like, man, that's like a whole afternoon, a whole day. My whole day is gone if I'm going to see this movie. After I see this movie, I'm coming home and going to sleep, like straight up. So yeah, not a lot of people went and saw this. Blue Beetle only spent 104 million. See, here's the thing. At least the Blue Beetle was smart to keep the budget reasonable. 104 million, not bad. Only made 129 though. And so it's still a box office flop. And they're trying, Blue Beetle had a flop too. No, come on. Let's get real with this, all right? The Expendables, yeah, I don't know why they made this movie. I am a shoot 'em up, beat 'em up, blow 'em up guy. I didn't think this movie was necessary, and a lot of other people also thought that. Only made 37 million. And then you got The Creator, which spent 80 million, 104. There's a lot of other big box office bombs. Obviously, Indiana Jones and a Dial of Destiny comes into mind. All right, that might be the biggest of the year, right next to the Marvels. I'm not sure which one is bigger. Elemental also lost money. Haunted Mansion lost money. Like, Disney didn't make any money with the exception of Guardians of the Galaxy. That's how bad things are, man. When it comes to the Marvel films set in the MCU, there's a certain standard audiences expect. One of which is making its budget back along with a massive profit. Like, if you spending $220 million, and really you just say 270, 300 million, plus you're adding marketing. All right, you're talking about $800 million, somewhere in that range, just to break even. And if all you're making is this amount, like, you don't spend this amount of money to break even. You want to spend some money to break even. That's like, we spend $50 million, $60 million, and we hope we get something out of that. You spend 200 plus million, you're expecting high box office returns. That's a big number. You're expecting this thing to get close to $1 billion, at least over $800 million, and then some. That's what you're expecting. So that's what this guy is saying here. Yeah, this is the expectation, right? There have been some bombs, but they still make their money back. The Marvels wasn't as lucky as previous MCU's installments. It came close to recouping its budget, but didn't quite make it, breaking any new record. I'm almost ready to give up on this whole article because this guy keeps saying, "Oh, it came close to recouping its budget." It didn't make its marketing costs, dude. Like, who wrote this? Hold up. Brad Hill. Brad Hill is a trip, man. And then, breaking new records as the MCU's lowest grossing film. However, The Marvels wasn't the only movie to struggle in the box office. Okay, but again, when you compare, all right, let's do the comparison that Game Rant is talking about. How do you compare like this with all of these other films? You can't. You can't compare The Marvels with any other film that's on here because it's part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Not even Wish, all right? Not even a Disney animated film can hold a candle to the Marvel Cinematic Universe and what it's meant in the collective cultural zeitgeist, like just as a franchise in and of itself. It's bigger than everything else that's up here. This film should have easily been able to crack at least, 600-700 million. Easily. Without breaking a sweat. So to sit up here and try to, let's compare it to all these other bombs. No, let's compare it to itself and to the other films in its same cinematic universe. And then that's when it really stands out. When you compare the Marvels to all the other stuff in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yeah, when you come to this website, the numbers, and it gives you the box office history for the Marvel Cinematic Universe films, all right? And then you scroll down here, like, yeah, here's the Marvels. It actually did cross 200 million finally. After like a month and some change, it finally crossed $200 million. But look, and here's the budget, right? The 274 that we know about. But yeah, let's go all the way down here. You cannot find another film even in the range of 200 million until you get to the Hulk. All the way down here at the bottom, at the very first year that the Marvel Cinematic Universe started. Oh yeah, here we go, 265. And all of this is not adjusted for inflation. This is not adjusted for inflation. That's what I'm talking about. Again, you got a film that's, you got a franchise that's done a $2 billion here, got a $2 billion here, all right, almost $2 billion with Spider-Man No Way Home. You cannot compare almost $1 billion with Doctor Strange 2. You cannot compare the Marvel Cinematic Universe failures with anything else. That's not a fair comparison to those films. It's like, shit, man, they got all of this working in their behalf. We didn't have this. It's like, like if Killers of the Flower Moon had like a franchise like this, maybe it might have did a little better. All right, I'll sit through a 3-hour movie. But yeah, man, it's just such a stupid comparison that this guy's trying to do. It's absolutely hilarious. Yeah, you got USA Today basically covering the same information in a different way, though. Marvel Mania is over. How the comic book super franchise started to unravel in 2023. It actually started to unravel before that. This is like the absolute signs of it, but we saw all of these signs coming way ahead of 2023. We saw them last year. We saw them when they were dropping Doctor Strange and Thor Love and Thunder. We saw it with She-Hulk. All right. Nobody was checking for watching these shows. Nobody cared about Moon Knight. Like some people watching, they say, hey, it's a great show, blah, 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 whatever. Nobody's watching it. Nobody's talking about it. It's not on Twitter and X or whatever, buzzing. Nobody's discussing this stuff. And it's the exact same thing with Phase 5. Hardly anybody went to see Ant-Man. That was a box office bomb. Nobody's talking about Secret Invasion. Nobody's talking about Loki. These are shows that nobody watched or cared about. And they kind of dip into that a little bit here. So it asks this question: what happened to the seemingly invincible purveyor of pop culture phenomena? It is the inevitable result of Disney-owned brand's strategy to use its A-level talent and biggest superhero names to prop up streaming service Disney Plus and the general Hollywood maxim that more is better. Spoiler alert, it's not. There were 6 Marvel projects across theatrical and streaming this year, evenly split among film and series, 8 in 2022, 3 films, 3 series, and 2 special presentations, and 9 in 2021, 4 films and 5 series. Yeah, we talked about this before, all right? It's just way too much Marvel content, and all of this stuff doesn't really connect to itself. When 2021 started, you had all of these films and you had all of these TV series, but there was like no real connective tissue. Nothing really connected with anything. And so everybody's just like, I'm just watching content now. And I'm not even getting a sense of what the story is. What story are they trying to tell? They're setting up people, but how does this connect to that? They never really pulled that off. And that was the thing about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is that you could kind of see through the post-credit scenes how things were going to start lining up. And then they also had, of course, better writing, better directors, characters that you actually care about. All right. That's how they set that thing up. And they did a brilliant job with it. You know, all credit due to the first 3 phases. They did the job. Everybody loved it, me included. But yeah, you see now it's like, okay, we're just going to throw all the content that we can at these guys and hope that this stuff works. And most of these series are just garbage. Let's just call it spade to spade. It's just garbage. A glut of content has watered down the brand. Not just a glut of content, okay? A glut of bad content. You put good content out there, people will go and watch it. They'll flood the theaters. They'll flip on Disney Plus. They'll talk about it online because it's good. You have to give us good content. That's the problem. As Iger acknowledged, but also created a barrier to entry for some movies that seemingly required knowledge of TV shows to fully understand. I mean, that's true. That meant WandaVision became semi-required viewing for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and new Marvel stars like Haley Steinfeld and Julia Louis-Dreyfus made their first appearance in TV shows, not films. All true. I always say when the lights go down and the movie starts, it's a clean slate. Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige said at a 2021 news conference for critics shortly after the debut of WandaVision, the first Disney Plus series. That's a noble goal, but anyone who's seen any of the 33 Marvel movies knows that prior knowledge is almost always a requirement. And in this case, you didn't give us a good show to sink our teeth into most of the time. You know, it was a lot of experimental stuff, a lot of experimental directors. You know, Kevin Feige had to come out and admit, hey, man, these directors ain't really working out like I wanted them to. So that's all self-inflicted wounds. Everything that this person is talking about is all stuff that Disney and Marvel, all self-inflicted wounds. They could have had a nice thing going, but they did push a lot of content out there that nobody really cared about. And it was also woke. They went super woke. Obviously, they don't want to discuss that. They'll never talk about that in the media, but we understand that. Garbage shows, pushing identity politics, pushing the agenda. And anytime you get that, it's a wrap. All right. People are not going to keep checking for this stuff. So my question is, Marvel's taking a break. You know, for 2024, they're only coming out with one movie and I think a couple of series, and that's it. So they're going to slow way down. I'm wondering how people will, you know, take Agatha, obviously, and Echo. Those are both coming out in 2024. Deadpool, I think people are interested in, but it'll be interesting to see what happens with those series in the one film. And if Marvel starts to resurrect the ship, try to bring that thing up out of where it's sunk to, they're going to have a long road ahead of them. But I think they can do it. They can pull it off. It's just going to take a lot of work. Anyway, folks, you guys let me know what you think about this situation. It's just obvious that Marvel had a terrible 2023, one of the worst collapses in the history of film, in my opinion. It is probably going to go down historically as one of the biggest collapses for a huge franchise that we've ever seen, you know, and that's saying something. But you guys let me know what you think. Jump down in the comments. Give me your thoughts and opinions on that. And thanks for watching. See you next time.